It's my second try. It's a completely different video. I just tried to record, but we're gonna read Miniature Rooms, which is a book I purchased from the Art Institute of Chicago, and it's about the Thorn Rooms, which are a bunch of miniature rooms displayed that are on permanent display in the Art Institute of Chicago. They're on the bottom floor, and it's like an entire little a circular ish area that's all like in the walls. They're all these little rooms depicted inside, and it's genuinely very beautiful. If you ever are nearby and interested in any art pieces, any art museums, you should 100% check out the Art Institute of Chicago. I got this book when I went a couple months ago. Not a couple, it's probably been like 3 months ago. But yeah. And I purchased a book because that genuinely was my favorite exhibit out there. There's a bunch of like Roman ones. No, not Roman. It was Greek. Like pottery, sculptures, Egyptian, and a lot of famous paintings out there. I already forgot. I think the painting The Nighthawks was out there. Famous American painting. The Portrait of Van Gogh was out there. And this Sunday, what's it called? The lounge. I think Sunday Lounge on the Louvre. You know, the classic one where they're like all the people are sitting out like by a riverside. And it's painted. You know what I mean. You know which one I'm talking about. I'm gonna put up a picture, but it's really big when I went out there, and it's really, I don't know, just like that feeling being in front of those pieces of art was really awesome. But yeah, for this one, so miniatures. My candles are going out. That's how long I've been doing this. Let me turn on these ones. Yeah. What else was there? If I do this, there was a very famous glass panel from what's it called? I think it's from a church in the what do you call it? I think it was like a UK church. I don't remember. It was very beautiful glass panel. It was massive too. It was ginormous. But yeah. So miniature rooms, the Thorn Rooms, essentially. So let me read some of the excerpts from here. From the inside panel. I forget what this is called. Generations of visitors to the Art Institute of Chicago have been entranced by the Thorn Rooms, painstakingly constructed on a scale of 1 inch to 1 foot. These intriguing models offer intricately detailed views of European interiors from the 16th century through the 1930s and of American furnishings from the 17th century to 1940s. The 68 miniature rooms were conceived by Chicago socialite Mrs. James Ward Thorn and made between 1934 and 1940 by a number of skilled craftsmen according to her exact specifications. Many of the rooms were inspired by specific interiors in historic houses or by museum installations or period rooms. Other combined features copied from various houses, palaces, and sites Mrs. Thorn's visited during her extensive travels. In this handsome, newly designed and revised edition of one of the Art Institute's most popular books, each room is shown in full view, including 8 two-page spreads that immerse the reader in several of the interiors. Full color details provide a closer view of specific objects mentioned in text, and a number of Mrs. Thorn's original drawings and reproduced to actual scale. The introductory essay chronicles Mrs. Thorn's creation of the rooms, while individual commentaries provide information about each interior. This is a volume that will provide irresistible to collectors, miniaturists, and architects, historians, interior designers, and the general public alike. So yeah, it was was it 60 something? 68 by Mrs. Thorne. And I did read that portion a little bit. And look, here's the scale of the mirror. And mirror in the Massachusetts dining room, 1795, which is 810. Look, like, it's genuinely, like, when you're in there, it's so beautiful. And you see, like, these ginormous pieces. Like, let me zoom in here. You could see the way it's drawn here. It's how detailed it was in person. Remember, it's 1 foot per 1 inch. Like, this is a massive mirror. Well, what it's meant to be depicting. If that makes sense. It is kind of, like, hard to believe. Like, imagine without being there in person. I hope it's not too blurry. Here's Miss Thorne. James Ward Thorne. And the general overview. She was a socialite. She was married to one of the richer people in the Chicago world at the time. And she got really obsessed with miniature rooms. And that became, like, her passion to do. So she supported a bunch of, like, architects and stuff like that, designers, to construct these rooms because they were, like, her hobby. And she got into, like, that kind of world where she used, obviously, her husband's money and, like, all that to depict and get information and research all these kinds of places. And she went to visit them and blah, yada yada yada. So, like, it does something here, like, social, economic, and cultural factors that gave her the chance to make this hobby because it was her own private hobby. She did construct them, and then I believe she commissioned portions for, like, people that were specialized in, like, specific furniture and, like, miniaturized stuff like that. And then she eventually opened it to the public. And then I believe she sold some of her things, or they were being sold. But yeah. And now she donated them as, like, a history because they are accurate to those times that they are depicting, right? So it was a variety of rooms that it was depicting. It was mainly European and American homes from, like, their own, like, distinct time periods. So, like, from here, let's see, English room from 1550 all the way to a German sitting room from 1815. It's, like, some of the things it could have covered. And there was some American ones. They do have two, like, kind of out there ones, which is the Chinese one and the Japanese interior one, which were also very beautiful. So, like, this one, I remember I saw this one. I believe they are structured in the museum in chronological order of, like, their time period. So look at this one. This background interior. If I could zoom in. Let's see if we can focus. But yeah, look at that. If you could see all these finishings, like, imagine how detailed they are in real life, and then having to translate that into 1 foot per 1 inch per foot. It's incredible. And then the ones in the back, it might be hard to tell, but they are, like, depictions of, like, knights, stuff like that. And then these little knights on the side. And then let's turn up to the roof. Like, look at that. It's incredible. And then these paintings as well. I'm not sure how they constructed the paintings. I'm sure they speak about them. This is let me read the first chapter of this portion. The English Great Hall, the late Tudor period, 1550 to 1603. What intrigued Mrs. Thorne about the late Tudor period was the transformation of England's feudal castles from arranged strongholds into home-like dwellings built for pleasure and comfort, as she puts it. She regarded the furnishings of the bare and cheerless rooms of these castles as being in the nature of a new experiment, and applauded the English nobility for seeking guidance from Italy, whose artisans had been creating fine tapestries, brocades, and elaborately carved furniture for more than a century. Italian Renaissance motifs and styles also reached England by the way of the Netherlands, modified by Dutch craftsmen. And then it goes on. So it's just the other thing, the historical aspect of how it's talking about like these tapestries from Italy that are being sent over to Europe, but they're being brought by Dutch traders, and then they're having influence on them, how they're being changed, and it's getting to these new, more slowly modernizing homes. Well, obviously, they're for the wealthy, but nobility, like people that used to have, like, castles and these places used to be purely for, like, combat and, like, defense and whatever, right? And now they're being shaped with all this elegant furnishing to be somewhere you would like to live, and it truly is incredible. And look, I believe that's a dog being depicted there, right here. It's incredible. Okay, so I'm not gonna show all of them like that, but obviously you can get this book and or go out and see the actual exhibit. But we'll just peruse through some of them and see something we like. The English bedchamber of the Jacobean or Stuart period, 1603 to 88. It's very red. I doubt it's mahogany, but again, the glass as well. English reception room of the Jacobean period, 1625 to 55. And this here, here's a measurement as well. This room measures 16.25 by 24.5 by 19.25 inches. Like, you don't understand, because when you get there, right, you don't see the entire room. It's literally like this, like this picture's taken. It's a little window into the rooms, and they genuinely have so much depth. And out these windows, usually on some of them, there's like little furnishings outside, so you can tilt your head, right, and look inside of them and still see like how it feels like it's ever growing, right, as if there's like a little world in each of these little windows for each of these rooms. And it's so beautiful. English drawing room, the late Jacobean period, 1680 to 1702. And look at this again, the furnishings, wood furnishings, the furniture, this tapestry, because I believe that is like an actual handmade tapestry. And you can see like the influences, because that might be European. This kind of like the visor, but maybe not. I'm not too familiar with that. This one was also very nice. The English cottage kitchen of the Queen Anne period, 1702 to 14. How this was like a less lavish room that was depicted. So you can zoom in here a little bit. There we go. And like all the chairs, like it just looked, even if it had less things to it, it just looked so much better. Like all these little plates were handmade, I assume. I hope. Well, maybe there might have been a manufacture, like a streamlined manufacturing process, but even still, it's still incredible that these were placed by hand. And I believe they were moved a couple times, I did read, but they had to be rebuilt perfectly. Well, maybe. I think that was a dilemma, that they couldn't really move this exhibit to too many places, as it was very incredibly time consuming to reconstruct and have a perfect setup for them. They need custom things, because they do have like little panels at the back of the area, because you could see the room, like the hall they're being exhibited in, is kind of antiquated. Like the floor is still carpet. They have like little like pedestals, not pedestals, but like step ups you could get to like get closer. I believe it was for children so they could see, but it's still all very, very nice. Let's see. Here's the English Library of the Queen Anne period, 1702 to 50. This is a very green one. This one's 13 by 21 by 21 and 1/8 inches. And like the leather, these are leather seats. Another English drawing room of the early Georgian period, 1730s. Look at that. Yellow. And then English bedroom. Here you can get a really good view on like the detail of this. Look at that. Like all of these figures. Like imagine they already are probably like in real life probably like this big, right? Or like, you know, not that big. Almost probably a little bigger than this page. And now being miniaturized into like one inch of itself. Like, fuck. And then these into the wall, because I believe this is probably one piece, right? They put onto the wall, but then you still have to make it. Like, and then I believe this will be a full page, the entire room. Here's the entire thing. Like, in this fabric, how they got it perfectly on this. The wallpaper or painting. I'm not sure how it works. I'm pretty sure it was painted on back then. But look at that. Like, look at these. Like, how is this? That's the other thing that fascinates me. The construction of it. Like, how its placement. Was this one piece that they transported into here? Because I can't imagine this is very structurally, you know, like, I'm assuming, you know, if you if you were too hard with it, it'd break. Like, how gentle, how precise you have to be with these things. Another English drawing room. Here's a pretty chandelier. Well, here's more blueprints. Look at the size. Oh, this, look, that's like thinner than my finger. Pinky, like. Oh my god. Top to have painted decorations. Oh, so these are half of the front and sideboard in one color. So these all have to be like designed. They're probably designed to, yeah, I believe these are all to scale. And here's another full view. Look at that. Like, and like the little bottles, if you could see that. This statue here, like, I'll just slowly pan over. Look at this. The table here, the wall, the chandelier, which I can't even imagine having to connect that. Like, look, I don't know. I really don't think this is doing it justice. But it's even as a picture, it's incredible. Here's the English entrance hall of the Georgian period, circa 1775. Zoom my back out. But yeah, here's this one. This one also looked really cool. I think I remember this one. There's a couple that really stood out to me. English drawing room. There's a lot of drawing rooms, which I'm still not really 100% sure what the drawing room entails. Is it like actually a room for drawing? Oh, this one. I remember this one because of the bookcase. Because this one had a lot of depth to it. Like, genuinely, like, an insane amount of depth. Like all these little books. I'm assuming they're like together. That's what makes sense to me. But like the little bust, all these books again. The flooring, because this was still like its own extrusion down up. Chandelier, more busts had to be made by hand. Have to remember, check the camera so the camera can see it. All right. That's the English Rotunda and Library of the Regency period, 1810 to 20. and another English drawing room of the Victorian period, 1840 to 70. Look at that red. Now, this is something like stylistically, I don't know. It's not to my taste, but it's still like the craftsmanship of it. Obviously, means a lot. But obviously, I just thought about maybe they had to have more room open, because obviously these are like base. These aren't necessarily exact copies, but I wonder if like obviously they have some sort of rules on how they set them up, and I assume it's fairly accurate to the time, right? That there's not as much like kind of clutter in the middle as, well, I guess they're also just big rooms. What do you fill it with? But like their fashion, I know, like what is this Victorian era, but I guess I don't know if they were still wearing like those big dresses at this time, you know, with like the wire frames and stuff like that, or even the casual like kind of fashion. It was still, I'm assuming, kind of robust, not robust, but like big, right? But I don't know. Oh, here's something. This looks incredibly modern, but I guess that's probably like the fashion sense. I guess it's 1930s, because English drawing room of the modern period, 1930s. Yes, this looks very. What's this fashion style called? This kind of architecture. Like, it's very precise in what it's trying to be, right? Which, I mean, kind of applies to everything, I guess. I don't see a description of like the fashion style. French Hall of the Louis VI period, circa 1500s. Yeah, this one you can see like. Also, another thing I just noticed. This all the religious iconography, like the cross is here. I believe this is probably a saint. And like these chairs always confuse me. Like, really, you really want a chair that thin? But I guess I don't know. It's very reminiscent of like church pews, that kind of thing, or the clergy chair. But I don't know. Like the wooden floor here is very nice. If you could tell. These not banisters. What am I thinking about? It's the ceiling. I'm forgetting all my terminology. French bedroom, late 16th century. Like, look at that. The tile flooring. It's just the color palette again, like this green with this like much darker colors everywhere. But I guess this might be just like the luxury aspect. And this door open here. There's no door frame. Or like, there is, but it's not visible. But then again, I'm thinking of like a modern, how like we stylize our homes nowadays. I'm thinking like an American, or like how they do it. They did it in Mexico. There's usually like a lot of things on the walls if it's not being occupied. But I guess, you know, they're trying to. They don't. It's just really big. I don't know what they would fill it with. A French salon. I don't actually know how you say it in English. I say salon. Of the Louis. What is this? The 14th period, 1668 to 1700s. I forgot my Roman numerals for a second. Here, like again. And now I'm back thinking of like how it is in person with these big fucking statues. Like, imagine how much they would cost. Just the price. The chandelier alone, its price. These, if they were like actual gold plated. French dining room. Again, I like the colors. The woods are really nice. And then here, a chair, scale chair. My hand. French dining room of the Louis 14 period, 1660 to 1700s. French library. Again, ones of the books. Like, oh my god, try not to move the camera too much. Like, look at that. that is that in focus? I really hope this is all in focus. My camera kind of tells me, but oh, fuck it. But yeah, chandeliers, faces, artwork. It's just incredible. French Bordeaux. It's like a recliner. Look how she designed. Well, I'm assuming other designers. Maybe she did herself. I don't know actually. Where, like, all the little pieces of furniture, all the little individual things had to be drawn out, designed perfectly, right? Like, look at that. Ooh. Like all these little pieces, the mirror, the candles, each frame, this painting in the back, this a seat, all these statue, like even miniature statues. Like, what the fuck? I know I'm just seeing things over and over, but still, it's incredible. The French provincial bedroom of the Louis XV period, 18th century. It's white. This looks like more like a traditional bedroom, to a degree. Like it's 18th century. The French dining room of the periods of Louis XV and Louis XVI, 1760 to 80. The another thing I want to comment on, I don't know if you'll agree, while we'll look over the next ones, is that some of these places, like, these are places people are intending to live, right? And, you know, they spend their time and, like, to relax and, you know, have comfort. But I feel, maybe it's just, you know, I was raised, but I could not, like, actually use these rooms for what they're supposed to be used for, right? Oh, look at this. This looks lovely. French library, the modern period, 1930s. Still, like, you can still the time period, but it still looks a lot more usable than these other extravagant, like, drawing rooms, like salons, like dining rooms, essentially, right? Like to sit down and try to relax, read a book. I think it'd be too much. But again, modern sensibilities. German sitting room. Look at this. This I can feel a little bit more. Right? I think the paintings, I don't know, I think the stuff on the wall really brings it together. Like, makes it feel less empty on the walls. It's like a little bird cage. The windows, oh yeah, going out, and sometimes they were just like the pictures. I mean, they had a little setting inside, but it still felt so big. And then here's the biggest one. Here's the really big one. The English Roman Catholic Church. This is the first one you will probably see when you enter, right? Once you enter the hall, it'll be on your left immediately, and it is massive. I believe this one's on a different scale. Yeah, this one's 48 by 32 and a half by 41 and a half inches. So I'll read this one, because this one is truly magnificent. Magnificent. How am I going to do this? I'll just put it over here. So this model, designed by Mrs. Thorne as Our Lady Queen of Angels Church, is unusual in a number of respects. To begin with, it is designed on a slightly smaller scale than the preceding interiors, 3/4 of an inch rather than 1 inch to 1 foot. In describing this interior, Mrs. Thorne stressed the function of the various elements rather than presenting its historical context. And quite uncharacteristically, she concluded her account by naming the architects, artists, and the craftsmen who created the model. Mrs. Thorne asked the architect Elliot L. Chisling of New York to design an English church in the style of the period before Gothic ornament became in her opinion, flamboyant and decadent. The result illustrates a phase of English Gothic between the high Gothic style of the 13th century and the perpendicular style of the 14th century. However, Mrs. Thorne's church exhibits some un-Gothic features. The vaulted ceiling above the sanctuary, the part of the church that contains the altar, is paneled in wood coffers, and a decorated wall replaces the customary east window above the reredos, and the wooden screen that enfolds the painted altarpiece. The elaborately carved reredos, inspired by the models in English cathedrals, was executed by Alphonse Weber, a Chicago craftsman who also crafted the crucifix. The altar is a freestanding, raised 3 steps above the sanctuary floor. On the right side of the altar is a credence intended to house the instruments of the sacraments, and the sedile, the official chair. A piscina basin is built, which is the basin, built into the masonry of the wall. Above the doorway is leading to the priest's chambers, or sacristy. Rise the pipes of the organs. The organ's console stands in a niche of the wall to the left of the altar under the window. The adjacent door leads into a vestry, so called because the vestments and sometimes the sacred vessels were stored there. A wrought iron grille in the 15th century style screens the entrance to the chapel dedicated to the Sacred Heart in the left bay. The grilles, altars, fittings, and the lighting features were the work of the New York artist Mary Zimmerman. Hildreth Mary, also of New York, executed the murals in the polychroming, and another New Yorker, G. Owen Bonawit, a well-known artist who worked in glass, painted the windows. Chicagoan Lawrence Frank Broom and the Francis Kramer Studios constructed the model, and A. W. Pedersen, also of Chicago, painted the walls, ceilings, and elaborate floor designs. Mrs. Thorne noted the absence of pews, which are modern comforts. First introduced in the 16th century. The only furnishings in the nave, the main body of the church between the aisles, are prayer stands. I didn't know that. I thought pews were just like how they always were. That's actually very interesting. So it's just all the historical features that this is, which I think in itself, a reflection of Mrs. Thorne's opinions and thoughts on what happened to architecture. It's another component I didn't really think about. How it's a mix mash of different things, and it was technically modern designed based off other things, right? So that's incredible. And moving on, we're on the Chinese interior traditional, and this one I don't think had too many fixtures on it. It was just these repeated. It's like I think here says this is like the kind of settings. I think it was like post 19th century kind of ish. Chinese traditional interior. And here's a Japanese interior, again traditional. I believe it's probably still around 1900s in that ish era. This one looked really nice because I didn't show it here. I think it had a cat outside, and this little courtyard area that isn't depicted here. And then this room was also fully furnished, and all the tatami mats. These were like near the end altogether because they were like kind of outliers, but they were still very, very beautiful. And well made, like Mount Fuji. I think it's Mount Fuji. It looks like a mountain, a Japanese mountain. On here, these like drawers, not drawers, but like storage. Fuck. And then all the American rooms. I'm gonna go through these pretty fast because these aren't as cool. Massachusetts living room and kitchen, 1675, 1700s. New Hampshire parlor, dining room, 1720. Tavern parlor. I like some of these terminologies because a lot of American architecture was also just based off the European one. So it's like kind of also the same. We'll look at these ones though. Like, look at this. This is, I just skipped it. New Hampshire dining room. Like, look at these murals on the sides. Like, that's so kind of, I think these are supposed to be like Greek murals. They kind of look like it. And then, I mean, like, what else can you say? I think that's the most eye-catching thing about this one. New Hampshire entrance hall. This one's kind of one of the plain. I think these are like, honestly one of the plain ones, but they're still very, very impressive. Bedroom, parlor, dining room, Rhode Island parlor, Cape Cod living room, like New England bedroom. Like, look how big this is. I don't know. I used to like this distance. Nowadays, you can't have that, you know. It'd be like a sofa or something, you know, if your bedroom was that big. And like, I feel this is pretty tall, but I mean, I'm just used to like having your. I guess it's also reaching the ceiling. You know. Pennsylvania drawing room. New York City parlor. Pennsylvania drawing room. Pennsylvania kitchen. Like, look at this. The wood. The loom. I completely forgot what it's called. The door that breaks in two parts. Oh my god. The split door. Shaker living room, circa 1800s. It's like a little furnace stove thingy. Oh my god. Maryland dining room. 1770, 74. Virginia dining room. Like all these doors everywhere. Virginia parlor. Virginia dining room. Circa 1752. Virginia drawing room 1754. Virginia entrance hall 1751 to 55. And again, these stairs go all the way up. Virginia drawing room 1755. Virginia drawing dining room circa 1800s. I think it's a full one. Look at that. Like, they're not as flamboyant as she was describing some of them, as some of the European ones, but I feel like they're more to my sensibilities, right? But obviously, it's very extravagant. South Carolina drawing room, 1775, 1800s. South Carolina ballroom. That seems kind of small for a ballroom, no? I don't know if I depicted it correctly, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking of like the grand ballrooms. The Georgia double parlor. Like, look at this scene. Like, what is this? Look at that. Wow. Look at these tassel-y things. And where they, I don't know why, like they have the bouquets of flowers and they put them inside like the glass containers. I'm not sure if that actually helped. I'm sure it did help a little bit, but oh, this is the Tennessee entrance hall. I think this is the one where the stairs are really, really nice. Like this curvature, how to design that, the railing. Even if in parts, you still have to design that railing. In real life, that's difficult, and even on miniature, to design this curved railing and the curved frame to make this. And then this wallpaper or painting, whatever it is. I think it's a paper because it's not repeating. Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that'd be the giveaway, right? That it's. I mean, it could be custom made, but 1835. And it's so pretty. Louisiana bedroom, 1800s, 15. Middletown parlor, 1875 to 1900s. This seems like something because I did visit George Washington's estate once a long time ago, and it had that kind of feeling ish. I believe because this style kind of was very popular for like Americans. I don't know what I'm saying. New Mexico dining room, and then here you can see like a very big change in like the materials or like how they look like, because this is like built like a stone furnace oven thing, and the windows a lot lower. California living room, again because of the heat, tiled flooring. California living room. I don't recall seeing this one. California hallway, 1940s. And that's it. Here's the mirror from the mirror in the English rotunda of the Regent period, 1810 to 1820. And here's a glossary of the book. And like they thought it is still like more figures. Like look at that. Or more look how big that is. I don't know if you can even see that. Like look at that. It's smaller than my fingernail. Well, that's about the same size. It's truly incredible. Oh my god, why is it? Oh, because my fucking thing. Yeah. Miniature rooms. Throne rooms at the Art Institute of Chicago. Thank you guys for being here. If you're just flipping through this with me. Again, if you ever have the chance, you should see them in person. I think the entrance is just worth alone to see this exhibit, and whatever exhibit they're running at the time is always probably worth it. I think you should always visit more art museums. Even go alone, go with family. I think it's a very interesting experience. But obviously go with people that would enjoy it, I'd say. My family, luckily, my mom and my sister have the ability to appreciate this art, especially my sister, who has a bit more more versed, and my mother can still appreciate the artistry. My dad's kind of like, oh, whatever. He's just there because we're there. But I think he still also appreciates the craftsmanship. I think that's what he understands. So, but yeah, thank you. I'm trying to make more videos, but we'll see. It's like however I feel like it. But yeah.